Nowadays, if you watch the media, it seems like South Korea is taking the world by storm with their BTS, K-pop, and now the Squid Game. And today I wanted to share with you guys about the many interesting facts about South Korea. Hi guys, my name is Gwen Esther, and I'm Korean American. I moved away to live in New York with my family before turning 9 years old. And I remember back then when people would ask me, what nationality are you? I would say I'm Korean. And I would get two responses. One would be, what is Korea? And second would be, North Korea? And it was just kind of funny how little people knew about South Korea. So today I wanted to share with you the things that I experienced coming back to Korea 5 years ago. So my perspective is gonna look very different from a foreigner's perspective because I already know the Korean culture to some extent, like taking off your shoes when coming inside the house, eating with chopsticks, or bowing to your elders. So my list is not in any particular order except I left the best for last. So enjoy, guys. So this one I already knew, but I just kind of wanted to share with you guys because many of you wouldn't know. But in Korea, once you are born, once you are out of your mother's womb, you are automatically a year old. Then, when the New Year's come, you gain another year. So basically, if you're 8 years old and you come to Korea and your birthday hasn't passed yet, you will automatically become 10 years old. So before COVID-19 hit the globe, Koreans were already wearing masks. Not everyone, maybe like 40% of Koreans were wearing masks when I got here 5 years ago. And that's because the air is not very good in Korea. They have a lot of fine dusts and yellow dusts and a lot of pollution as well. And so they wear masks to protect themselves. It's common for a Korean family to own air purifiers. And they even sell anti-pollution detergents, anti-pollution skincares, and there's a machine that looks like a little refrigerator where you're supposed to hang your clothes and it's supposed to remove all the fine dust and yellow dust as well. So there are two things that I still don't like about Korea, and those are that motorcyclists do not adhere to traffic laws. They pass red lights all the time, and they drive on sidewalks, and they park anywhere they feel like. And so let's say you're walking across the street, and they would just still drive through even though they're not supposed to. And the police, they don't do anything about it. Second one is that drivers don't have any regards to pedestrians. What do I mean by this? So let's say you're walking an intersection and you started walking first. If they see you coming, they will not stop for you. You would actually have to stop for them unless you want to get hit by a car. I don't know why this is the case, because in America, once a driver sees you walking, common sense tells them to stop because they don't want to hit the person. But in Korea, common sense doesn't seem to apply because they expect you to stop walking and for them to drive through, which is kind of insane for me. So Korean movie theaters look very similar to movie theaters in America. The one major difference would be that they sell beer in Korean movie theaters, and you can actually bring in your own food to eat inside the theater, which is a nice treat because in America, you are not allowed to bring in your own food. Sometimes they even check your bags to see if you're stashing in any food, so this is a major plus for Korean movie theaters. So I mentioned that movie theaters sell beer, and it's actually legal to drink on the streets, which goes to show you the drinking culture in Korea. Now, that might sound appealing to those who drink, but to someone like me who don't, I don't like seeing a puddle of vomit on the sidewalk, which doesn't seem to get cleaned up until nature seems to clean it up. I guess in Korea, you're not really responsible for your own sidewalks, so people don't seem to clean up the mess that somebody else made. So Korean public bathrooms have pros and cons. Let's go with pro first. They are clean and they are safe. Now, why do I mention safe? Well, let's say that I've lived in New York long enough to never go inside a subway bathroom in New York. But in Korea, you could go into any public bathroom if they are open and they are clean, and you could actually put your buns on the toilet seat and do your business. And the cons, Sometimes in smaller businesses where they share a public bathroom on one floor, they will not have toiletries like toilet paper, paper towel, or soap. So you're going to have to get that from the restaurants or cafe or somewhere that you're visiting on that floor and get the code key or the keys to get inside the bathroom, which is a bit inconvenient, but you get used to it. So when you move into a villa or a studio in Korea, a lot of the times there's going to be a bathroom where there's no partition between the toilet and the shower. So when you take a shower, everything pretty much gets wet. The floor, the toilet, your sink, everything. So in a way, it's a good way to clean your whole bathroom. But afterwards, you would actually have to wear slippers so that your socks doesn't get wet. So Korea is known to have a good, affordable healthcare system. And you could actually go see a doctor for $10 even without having a medical insurance. I was really surprised with my first visit because they don't ask you to fill out a form telling them what kind of allergies you might have, any family medical history, none of that. So when you go see the doctor and you tell them your ailment, they don't ask you, oh, what are you allergic to? Do you have any family medical history? They don't ask you any of that. And then they prescribe you medicine that you don't even know if you're allergic to or not. So I would recommend that if you guys were ever to go to see a doctor in Korea, you tell them what you're allergic to and you tell them your medical history, because if they don't ask, they might prescribe you something that you might be allergic to, and God forbid something bad happens. So this applies to those who are married. There is no such thing as joint account in Korea. What do I mean by this? Well, in America, when you get married, you could have one bank account for the couple. But in Korea, there is no such thing. So once you get married, you still keep your bank account, your spouse keeps his account, and there is two separate accounts, not one. So when I came to Korea, I was a bit shocked by the number of couples I saw. So when you go to Han River in Korea, you can literally see hundreds of couples sitting down, walking around, eating in their little tents, doing whatever, I don't know. But that is disturbing to see. And to see young couples, now young meaning kids that are 10, 11, 12, walking around holding hands, going to school. I mean, in some ways you could think that's cute, but there is a rise of STDs in Korean adolescents, which is really disturbing to hear. So the first time I went to a beach in Korea was with my church, which was an international church. And so we were all dressed in our bathing suits and bikinis. But in Korea, it's very rare to see Koreans wearing bikinis or bathing suits. Why? Well, I guess it's because they want to be more modest about the way they look, and they want to protect themselves from the sun rays. So they want to keep that white, fair skin. So they are covering themselves from head to toe, wearing long sleeves like this. And they are wearing long pants as well. And they actually go inside the waters with their clothes on, which is interesting to see. One thing I really love about Korea is how safe it is. So when I first came to Korea and I had to go to the immigration office to apply for a visa, I went there with my boss. And we had to wait about 4 hours, so we decided to go to Burger King. Now he told me to leave my bag on the seat and we would go up to the counter to order food. And inside my bag, I had my passport, my documents, money, just anything that was important was inside. And he told me that it would be alright to leave my bag on the seat. But being a New Yorker, you just don't leave your bag on the seat while going to order food. It's just not something that you would do living in New York. But I guess it is very common for Koreans to do it here because people don't seem to steal other people's possessions. I don't know why. Maybe because there's so many security cameras around everywhere. But people just don't do it. I mean, the crime rate is very low in Korea, and that is just something that I really appreciate, because nowadays I do leave my laptop, my cell phone, my bag on the table, and I go order food, or I go outside, or I go to the bathroom, and once I come back, everything is still there. Nobody has taken anything, and that is just something awesome that I get to appreciate every single day.